but
God.
I'm not going to do that.
Hey,
But
get us to 75 subs on YouTube, and I'll do it. By October 31st, 75 subs on YouTube.
I'm very sure it would know for people, but...
Oh, hello. Oh. Okay, there we go. Hello. Now you can hear me.
Oh, it is time.
Sorry we're late. That is my fault. Let me tell you a story. I want to paint a picture for you because I actually didn't tell. I kind of gave Emily the highlights when I asked to move this back. I didn't say what happened, though. I left my house at 4:25 to go pick up Allison. About 5 minutes later than I normally do, but that usually doesn't make a difference.
And this time,
Yeah, I don't think it would have made a difference regardless if I left 5 minutes prior. As soon as I get on the interstate, it's backed up. And it's like, it's going to take you an hour to get there. I'm like, oh no. Well, there's a back way. It takes me an hour just to get to the back way. And had I stayed on that current path, I still would have taken me the full 2 hours. It took me, not quite 2 hours, but 2.5 hours to get to Allison. She was stuck at her office until 6 p.m. until she got in my car.
okay, at this point, I have to ask, why didn't she catch an Uber?
Because one, money, that's expensive, in downtown New Orleans. Hold on. And two, secondly, I was already on the way. So.
Fair, also fair. That's so late.
Yeah, she had to stay an extra hour, but what can you do? What can you do? It sucks.
It's incredible.
It was weird. Like, as soon as I turned around too, I'm not going to dox where I live, obviously, but...
You just kind of doxed where you live, though.
Well, everyone knows I live in New Orleans, but they don't know where, because it's not a small... I mean, it's not a big place, but it's not a small place. I think Grand Rapids actually, size-wise, might be bigger. Besides the point, it was backed up. The road was backed up for, like, at least 5 miles, even turning around. Like, it was insanely backed up. It was stupid. That's why we're late. That's my fault, but not my fault.
Yeah, I was ready to go.
It's
I did
fine.
nothing wrong. I was here.
She's been prepping. I've been prepping, but my review's not till next week because one game comes out tomorrow and the other one takes 100 hours to beat, and I'm only 16 hours in.
Oh, you got a lot of work to do then.
Yes, I do. I thought
You're gonna have a busy week.
I thought I was making good time. It's even worse because I have friends coming to town this weekend. So
you don't have time to play at all.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure something out.
Right.
But we'll go ahead and jump because Emily has to do 2 reviews. I don't think one of them is gonna take very long, but it might. I don't know. But we're gonna jump into news first, real quick, unless you have something.
Yeah, what you got? What you got up your sleeve?
First and foremost, in a very ironic twist of fate, at the Nintendo Museum, someone was messing around with the stations where you could play games. Like, they had, like, demos of SNES or NES, and they had little controllers there where you could play the games. Turns out Nintendo was using emulators. You know, those things they keep trying to shoot down.
That's hysterical.
And it was confirmed on a Microsoft machine because you heard the little disconnect sound as soon as you unplug the controller. People thought the systems were originally plugged into SNES Classics or NES Classics. Nope. Emulation, baby. Nintendo, you got.
That's embarrassing for Nintendo. That's really embarrassing.
We already know Nintendo uses emulators on Switch, like, to get those games running. That makes sense. I think we're all aware of that. But the fact that you do it on a PC, which you're trying to shut down so, like, frequently.
So hard, yeah.
Yeah. You suck, Nintendo. Oh, also, other news. We're going to start talking to chat during these podcasts now. Like, make it more interactive. So feel free to talk to us. Just FYI, heads up. Hello. I don't think we mentioned that, so there's that.
No, we didn't.
Nope. That's the worst part.
That was some feedback we received from people who wanted to chat.
Anywho,
I know, we're just really exciting.
We're going to get into lighter news because the last story is so heavy. It's so bad. I didn't even warn you about this.
Where we're going.
The lighter news. It now escapes my brain. I should have wrote this down, and I didn't write it down. Hold on, I just had it. Oh yeah. Super Mario Party Jamboree reviews went live today.
Is it good?
It got an 82, which makes it the highest rated Mario Party of all time, which is
Oh,
insane to think about. Everyone
okay.
gave it, everyone gave it between 70 and 90 into 90 and some tens, but mostly between 70 and 90, except for Eurogamer, who was salty and gave it a 40 and said this game is jam-packed full of things to do, but misses fun at every turn. That's
Oh,
Eurogamer, though, for you. I
well, we'll have to wait till we play it. You'll have to wait till you play
Yeah,
it.
hold
I'm
on.
not playing it for a while.
I will be
I
playing
will
it
buy
tomorrow.
it eventually. I will buy it eventually, maybe if you and Allison like it and are ready to like commit to playing it, because we're in the middle of buying a lot of games right now.
Yeah, we
And
are.
that's one game I don't need to buy.
Yeah, that's the whole reason we didn't do an Epic Mickey rebrushed release
I just had to buy
thing.
like two $70 games in 1 week. This
Yeah,
one. So
yeah. And I'm buying, oh god, I have this and then I have Brotherhood Brothership.
every time you say Brotherhood, I'm like, Assassin's Creed?
No. Brothership is such a weird word. It's
It
such
is.
a
I don't like Brothership. I don't like Brothership.
it's a bad word. Naughty word.
Bad title.
All right, now time for the heavy thing. And it is still Nintendo related. So do you know who Game Freak is?
No, not really.
Yeah, that's now known as a Pokemon company, but they still are Game Freak. So Game Freak is the
Oh,
people who created Pokemon, the original games,
okay.
right? And they
Oh, I
branched.
do know what this is. I do know what this is.
Oh yeah. So Game Freak got massively hacked over the weekend
I
and bunch
heard
of
about
leaks.
this.
So we're gonna start with the easy stuff first. There was a whole bunch of stuff in the anime that was leaked for Pokemon. That's fine. New game leaks came out. Pokemon Legends ZA comes out next year. We already knew that. Some
ZA?
ZA.
That's what it's called.
Yes. I don't know why yet. There's gonna be a reason.
I mean, I'm sure there is a reason. Is it a good one to call your game ZA? I don't know.
Probably
But
has to do with Zygarde being the legendary. I know that means nothing to you.
or
That means nothing to you. It's fine. It's okay. There was
ZA is just objectively a bad name.
we saw Gen 10's code name. It's Pokemon Gaia. I think the letter, I can't remember the letters except for one I know is going to be Pokemon starting with a K. People are assuming this is going to be set in Greece because of Gaia. Nothing too crazy there. Code names are also there to mislead, though, so they could mean nothing at all. Now for the meat and potatoes. Yeah, Pokemon's into some really freaky things, dude. So one thing you have to know, and this is the same with Disney, and this is the same with Nintendo, I'm sure, anything that you produce there, whether that's like concepts of lore or drawings or anything, even if it's never used, that belongs to the company, right? So
Yeah.
everything created at Game Freak / Pokemon Company, that belongs to them no matter what it is, whatever you produced. Original concept lore for a Gen 2 Pokemon known as Typhlosion came out, which sucks because he was one of my favorites. But the lore included the fact that he apparently fell in love with some 16-year-old girl on a mountain and ended up impregnating her, creating Pokemon human hybrids. Pokemon, what is this nonsense?
Why? Why would you do this, Pokemon? Why? What did it serve?
It had no purpose. There was no
Why
reason
would-
to do this.
Why would you introduce Pokemon human hybrids?
We don't need it. We didn't need it. It was bad. It was
It's real gross. It's real gross.
real gross is one way to put it. It all started with Vaporeon and Jorriers is correct, G. I'm not gonna do the copy pasta of Vaporeon. I don't even know if Emily knows what that is.
No, I really don't want to.
Yeah, you really don't. I'm gonna send it to you later anyways. But you don't want to know. I actually want you just to read it. I want you just to go through it and be like just text me like how messed up people are. How I'm watching my language today. I'm doing much better. Save her that she doesn't.
Okay. Okay.
I wouldn't.
Thank you, G. G wouldn't put me through this.
That's not
G
true. He
wouldn't
has
make me
put you
suffer.
through other things, and we know it.
That's true. That's also true.
Yep.
But
Come
not
on.
this.
Yeah. This is not the first leak of Game Freak this year. I think we had another one earlier this year. It wasn't as massive. But I don't know what's going on at Game Freak in Pokemon Company. Like this
Some
is
weird stuff.
like that is
Some
insane.
weird stuff. I
Uh
want to know who came up with that one specific piece of lore and how they got everyone else to be on board with that.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, they didn't get on board with it. They never used it. But once again, it was created there.
Somebody put it in the special book that said this was our official lore for this dude.
Oh no! I mean, some dude just had to write it down as a concept. It probably got auto rejected, but they keep it. It's just there. Like you can't ever reuse this again.
Some weirdo once upon a time worked at Nintendo and was like, "This is my fan theory," and they
Guarantee you, he's still there. He's probably still there.
No.
$20 says he's still there. Like
Out him, Nintendo. Name him. It's like some Kojima nonsense over here.
there already is one creepy Pokemon that the whole thing is like they steal kids in the night. But that at least there's an interesting concept behind it of being a monster versus it's having sex with a human and creating hybrids. Yeah, it's weird. I hate it. I hate this.
Let's not talk about it anymore.
Yeah, moving on. Last thing I have for you, the real last thing I have for you is I've been watching reviews on Alarmo. It looks cringe. It's pretty cringe. It's bad.
The video talking about somebody set like it was a joke video talking about like they set Zelda music to be like their alarm and then they like roll over and go back to sleep and the like Guardian chase music from Breath of the Wild starts playing.
That'd get me up. I won't lie. That would get me up. Allison would divorce me, but it'd get me up.
Yeah, so annoying.
She wouldn't stay with me for that. There's no there honestly
What the sales on this thing are.
I think it's a good idea for kids. I think it's fun for like people like young kids between like 5 and 12, sure. But if you're
my 5-year-old $100 alarm clock.
that's also true.
On it.
If you had money to burn in your pocket. But for a 30-year-old adult, this ain't it, Chief.
You know they're gonna sell out like instantly.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure they already have.
Oh, cool.
But they're gonna go to the general market next year.
I'm safe, just in case I woke up in the middle of the night and was wanting to buy an Alarmo for reasons unknown.
Well, the problem is, Emily, you wouldn't wake up because you don't have the Alarmo to wake you up. How are you gonna wake up?
Actually, I'm never able to wake up without an Alarmo. I'm late to work every single day, and I'm so thankful Nintendo invented this system of waking me up now.
Emily, why are you late? Nintendo hasn't developed the thing yet.
I can actually only wake up to the sounds of Mario saying, "It's a me, Mario."
Or the Guardian sounds for you.
No, not even that, just Mario specifically. It's been a real weird thing of mine, and I'm so glad Nintendo created a product to fill that need for me.
My question is, why is Ring Fit Adventure a starting sound on there?
In case you wanted to wake up and work out.
I get maybe, I don't know. Splatoon, I get it, but when I think Nintendo, I don't think Ring Fit Adventure. The Ring Fit Adventure is fun.
That's the first thing I think of.
I can tell him. I know how often you use your Ring Fit Adventure that you definitely have.
I had a student in Japan whose favorite Smash character was the Wii Fit Trainer. And she just walked around all the time going, Wii Fit Trainer.
What? Actually,
I think of that constantly. She said that all the time.
So it's funny you mentioned that, and then we'll move on. I helped my mom and dad clean their house because they're renovating some stuff, and we were just getting rid of a whole bunch of old stuff, right? I found complete in box Wii Fit. I have now a complete in box Wii Fit from the Wii era. Completely.
And you're
free.
going to use it, right? You're going to start using it?
No, I'm going to play Ring Fit before I play. This did not have anything like exercise helping thing.
No, but you have it, so you should use it.
Are we going to stream Wii Fit? Am I gonna,
Yeah.
I gotta get. No, I gotta wear shoes then. I can't wear my flip flops. You guys ain't getting these toes for free. Kumu, thank
Maybe
you
they
for the
just
lurk.
did.
Huh?
I think maybe they just did.
They might have. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's all I have. I'm not going to be talking most of this episode, except for maybe a little bit of Until Dawn, because I actually did play Until Dawn.
You did play that. Well, no, you didn't play the remake. You played the original.
I played the OG. That's what I mean. I did play the OG. I did not play Remake. And I have never even looked at Silent Hill except for PT. When I actually played PT years ago. I'll never do it again.
PT's so good.
Emily, take it away. Where do you want to start?
We're gonna start with Silent Hill 2, mostly because
You're not done?
I have less to say on Silent Hill 2 because I'm not done with it yet. Embarrassingly, Chad. Please don't hate me,
Embarrassing.
but I've actually been streaming it, and so I didn't want to play it when I wasn't streaming it because we got a good group of people who are enjoying the playthrough, and I don't want to make them miss out on it because I was rushing to get it done. I'm also really enjoying because if you know anything about Silent Hill, or if you don't know anything about Silent Hill, it has a really interesting story to it. A story I haven't even finished piecing together, even from like my PT knowledge, and I've seen a couple of the movies here and there, but it's still this very interesting concept of what's happening with the story, and there's a lot of pieces that you need to put together and a lot of characters, and I'm really enjoying the mystery of it all, of having some idea of what must have happened but not knowing enough. And it's been a long time since I played a horror game that had a story that was that interesting to me, or where I couldn't predict where it was going to go. Resident Evil, I love Resident Evil, but its story is usually pretty predictable.
Yes. Except for 7. Well, I wasn't able to predict 7. Though I probably should have in retrospect.
I can't tell you if I predicted 7. It was so long ago. But that was a pretty good horror twist. So let's start with what Silent Hill 2 is. I will say I never played the original Silent Hill 2, but it came out in 2001, I believe. So it's, if you're interested at all, we were talking about this over the weekend with where it falls in with Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, because I joked that I think the protagonist of Silent Hill 2, James Sunderland, looks like a knockoff Leon S. Kennedy. He actually just looks like a sadder, more depressed, like, store brand Leon S. Kennedy. And if you're wondering which came first, Leon S. Kennedy did come first.
So it's a chicken and the egg situation then.
Except you actually know which one came first.
Yeah.
And James Sunderland absolutely came second. This is a remake of a 2001 game, Silent Hill 2, and the plot is that you play as James Sunderland, whose wife, Mary, passed away 3 years prior to an unnamed disease, unnamed for me so far, maybe they name it later. And he recently received a letter from her saying she was waiting for him in their special place in the town Silent Hill. So James loads up in his car, he drives to the infamous town Silent Hill, and is trying to figure out the special place where his wife, who's presumably supposed to be dead for 3 years, is waiting for him. And along the way, he meets some interesting characters. So far, we have a girl, I think her name's Ashley, who is real weird. She actually, yeah, and you meet her like 5 minutes into the game in a graveyard, and she's like, "This town is not normal. You should leave. Something's really wrong with this town." Now, me, knowing anything about Silent Hill, was like, "She's right. We should leave." Mr. James was like, "My dead wife is in that town. I must go." We've just recently met a woman, Maria, or something like that.
Miriam?
No, it's not Miriam. But she is a little too much for me. But Silent Hill supposedly is a town that exists in like a liminal space between life and death, between heaven, hell, purgatory. I think it's a purgatory. And so the concept is that James is searching for his wife throughout Silent Hill while he's also traveling in the spaces between purgatory, life, and death. There's another world. Essentially, if you've ever seen, I'm sure many of you have seen Pyramid Head. He's the very famous figure from Silent Hill who has an aptly named Pyramid Head. I don't know how else to describe it. He carries around a giant scythe. He kills a lot of things. You follow him into the other world, the world I would assume of demons and hell. And we're still looking for my wife. I'm probably about, I would say, a third to halfway through the game. I think it's about like 15 to 20 hours, and I think we've played around 8 maybe at this point. But it's really good. First of all, it's made by the Blooper Team, which if you know the Blooper Team, they're very famous for horror games, but mostly like walking simulator horror games. They originally made Layers of Fear and the subsequent sequels to Layers of Fear, and then they took on The Medium, which was another pretty popular horror game a few years back. But they've always been very good at effects and making these beautiful, well-polished games, but less about action. Like Silent Hill is very much a fighting game, and I wasn't sure how that was going to translate for the Blooper Team just because they haven't ever really had a game with action in it before. It's usually a walking sim of some kind. But I have to say, they seem to have knocked it out of the park. Not only is the game incredibly as beautiful and as polished as their other games, but they've done a really good job of making the fight scenes work really well. I personally am not great at them, but that's just because I'm really bad at shooting. I think at this point I have like 100 bullets saved in my inventory because I've just been fighting with the like crowbar I got because it's easier for me because I have such terrible aim. But yeah, that the fighting mechanics are pretty seamless. They're pretty intuitive, especially switching between your handheld weapon and your gun. I kept trying to do the like D-pad to switch between the two of them, but it's actually just if you hold down R2 to swing, you automatically use your handheld weapon, and if you hold L2 to aim first, then you pull out the gun, which I thought was nice, and it works a lot faster when you're in the middle of fights. You don't have to try to like think about switching between the two and like using the D-pad system in a like Resident Evil style way. I haven't gotten a second weapon. I'm about to get the shotgun, so maybe that will become a little less easy to navigate once you have more weapons. The map system is really well done. Every time, Resident Evil has always had a really good map system in that if you are in a room and you've left items behind, it will mark the items, or if you got all the items, it will turn blue. If there's items still in the room you haven't gotten, it will turn red. But James, I have to say, is very good about circling doors that are locked that he can't go in. Hi, Bean. How are you, buddy? And he'll note down like passages that are blocked off. He'll note down where puzzles are, where the solutions to those puzzles are. So it's a really nice math system. It took me a little bit to get used to, but once I got used to it, it works really well. The world is really fleshed out. It's creepy and ominous to walk through because there's so much fog, and it has been very frustrating, especially for navigating. I've been having to check my map every 5 seconds, which comes into play with how useful the map is and how much detail it has on it, because if you've ever seen Silent Hill, it's incredibly foggy. So it's hard to figure out even where you are after a few steps of being like, hey, I'm going straight down the street. Like, I've walked past buildings I was supposed to go in before. I've passed by streets I was supposed to go down. It is incredibly... And then even once you get out of the fog and into, like, the buildings, like the apartment building and the hospital, they're very dark. The corridors are very long and narrow. You feel a little, like, claustrophobic. I was very nervous walking around the apartments because either an enemy was behind every corner, or at like halfway through the apartments, you get your first sighting of Pyramid Head, which was really freaky. You like turn a corner and he's right there. He's beyond a barrier, so he can't get to you and you can't get to him, but he's like staring at you and you're staring at... He looked at me and I looked at him, and we knew he was going to try to murder me. It's very ominous and very freaky. And so I kept kind of having that fear that he was going to be around every corner, and it's not often that horror games get me that like freaked out and nervous. And I think at one point, even your wife, like Allison, said something along the lines of, she was like, we've been getting a lot of ammo and healing items in the last couple of rooms. I think there's a boss fight coming out. And I was like, oh no, she's right. She's right. I was so tense after she pointed that out. I was like, oh, and we did get a boss fight, and the boss fight, it was good. I'm excited to see what more this game has. The story, I'll admittedly, has been a little slow going. Like I said, I'm about 7-8 hours in, and it's still just being, don't eat the Sharpie, dude.
Bean, you can do whatever you like.
The story is just being fed to you in very, very small amounts. I really don't... We just got, like, a secondary character who's following us around, and I really don't want her to be following us around anymore, but I've heard a lot of like the game's endings that you get hinge on how well you treat this character. So I'm a little nervous about that one. We just reached the hospital, but I know there's a new type of enemy coming up, and I was already very nervous about that one. It's great. It's great at building the tension. It's great at setting the atmosphere. So far, the mechanics are working really well. It looks beautiful. It's a really well polished, well designed horror game, and I'm really excited to find out where the story is going to go. This is a game I feel like I'm going to go back to time and time again to get. I think there's 6 different endings, which is wild. Which is
Damn.
also very exciting because it's often compared to Resident Evil. I've compared it to Resident Evil in this very stream. But Resident Evil, as much as I may wish I could change the ending of each Resident Evil game, we would not have nearly as much Ada as we do, and Ethan Winters would still be alive. But
Gee, you can't
sadly,
fix her.
you can't fix her. Sadly, you can't make any choices in that game. In this game, at least there's some choices you can make, some outcome you can change, and I think that's pretty exciting. So
Uh,
I finish the game, I'll fall into that a lot.
there is one choice in the only Resident Evil game that I ever played, but it literally means nothing. It's who do you give the vaccine to? This
Oh,
woman you've never met before, or your wife who's been lying to you for years?
doesn't it's not even a choice that can like matter because by the time you get to the next game, you had to save Mia regardless.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't matter. Zoe will die no matter what you do, and Mia will live, and you two will end up staying married and having a baby and doing Resident Evil 8, and then you die. So what what does that even matter?
Here's this
Um,
choice that literally means nothing in the long run.
I hate games that offer like the illusion of choice. It's incredibly frustrating, which is something we'll talk about with our next game a lot because if offers anything but the illusion of choice. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm not quite finished with it yet, and I can't offer you all the like full review on the story. If Blake is so kind, maybe next week or the following week to give me some of his review time to just give you my thoughts on the story. Um, we'll cover more. And if you want to see my thoughts live, come hang out on the stream. We've done 2 so far. I'm going to be streaming again tomorrow night and probably this weekend as well. So come hang out and we'll beat this thing.
Extra
Help me
long
figure what's going on
episode.
with the story. Yeah, help me figure out what's going on with the story. I'm still lost and confused. And it's a really I don't know how to. It's a really exciting feeling to be entering such a large horror game, a horror series, and not know where the story is going to go. Especially with Resident Evil, I think most people kind of already get the gist of it, or you've seen spoilers here and there. And to just be so unspoiled about what's going to happen later in Silent Hill is so incredibly exciting for me. So I can't wait to see where the story goes. But so far, yeah. I mean, I can't give it a final rating yet, but
Give it a preliminary.
I guess the only negative I could give for it so far is I really do hope it picks up in its pace. Maybe it's because I'm just really slow at playing it. I'm the kind of person who, when playing a horror game, searches every single corner 3 times to make sure she got all the items. But it's been kind of slow, especially like the story wise. And we've only had the same like 2 enemies for 8 hours I've been playing. I mean, aside from when I had the Pyramid Head mini boss fight, we call them. My stream has lovingly named them Mildred and Vivi, and I'm not going to go into why.
I know why one of them.
Um, but we have pretty much had Mildreds and Vivis and a couple like variations on the Mildreds and Vivis for the whole 8 hours I've been playing. So it has gotten a tad stale in places, but I also know that's probably because of my playstyle. So that's the only really negative I'd give it is I would just want to see it pick up its pace a bit. But preliminary wise, 9.3.
That's
9.4.
yeah, that's good.
It is an excellent horror game. It's probably going to go down as one of my favorite horror games. It's so far still trailing beneath like probably Resident Evil and
Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear. Probably not. Layers of Fear when it came out was incredible. If you look at it this time, it's I don't know. But Madison, if you remember me playing that game.
Yep.
I think that is the best, hands down, the best horror game I've ever played. PT, Madison, and some of the other Resident Evil games. And I think this will go probably along with the Resident Evil games, still under Madison and PT.
I learned today. I thought his hand was in all the Silent Hill games, but they were not. Yeah, Kojima had nothing to do with this one.
That is something I had to learn a couple months ago as well when I was talking to my friend. I was like, yeah, well, Kojima, I can't believe they're remaking the game and Kojima's not even there anymore. And they were like, Kojima didn't make
Yeah,
Silent Hill? He just did PT.
I thought he did it. No, he had nothing to do with it. He did
No.
PT and then hey, you want to learn more about, Hideo Kojima and his hand in Silent Hill? Go watch our previous episode on that. It's actually really good. I enjoyed doing that episode. Me and Emily stayed up all night watching these videos
Yes, we
and
did.
playing Resident
And
Evil 7.
if you want to see it for yourself, A, watch our video. B, if things go as planned, I'm hopefully going to be doing a PT stream on or around Halloween, playing PT live, and we'll be chatting about the lore of PT. Blake won't be there for it because
Not true.
he's
Here's the thing. I'm there. I'm always there, except for when I was at the comedy show last week. But besides the point, I came later. I'm there. Your whole last stream. I'm just playing Metaphor in the background.
I was probably gonna stream it via podcast. And I didn't think you were gonna be like in podcast with me for that. I mean, you're welcome to be. I didn't think you wanted to be.
No. Hey, if you think you have what it takes, you can play with Emily. Maybe.
We'll see. Maybe we can convince Blake to be there for part of it.
Oh,
but
God.
I'm hoping to do that.
Hey,
But
get us to 75 subs on YouTube, and I'll do it by October 31st. 75 subs on YouTube.
It's a very short window for people, but maybe we can get it done.
We're at 56. That's less than 20 subs.
I didn't realize that. But yeah, to sum it up, I think it's a phenomenal horror game, and obviously my opinion might change based on where the story goes and what the rest has to hold for me. But so far, it's near perfect. So Silent Hill 2. If you are a big horror fan and you've been wanting to go out and get a new horror game, I think Silent Hill 2 is worth it. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how different it is from the original because I never played the original, but if you never played the original like me and you're maybe looking to get into the series, I think it's a great iteration of it. So
I saw some side-by-side scenes on TikTok that people were posting. I mean, it's obviously night and day because it's a PS2 game versus a PS5 game. Yeah, like this game came out.
This is a 9/11 era game.
What day did this? Fuck, what game did this come out? When did this come out? Oh, September 24th. Oh God, it was.
That's so wild. What if I find out the plot at the end is that James actually died in 9/11 and
There's no way they could have implemented that so fast recall all the discs now. We need to reprint.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh God.
So yeah, obviously the looks are night and day because it's a 2001 game.
It's a PS2 game to a PS5 game. An early PS2 game to a PS5 game. So.
Yeah, but it's incredibly different, but it looks beautiful. Actually, there's one really funny thing I think Blake probably saw when I was playing as well. I think the only thing that feels, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel lazy, and it looks bad, and it's not a big deal because it's such a minor thing. But whenever you save in this game, you have to go up to a piece of paper, and if the paper is on what you see when you go to save is you get a mirrored image of James looking at the piece of paper. Like you, the player, are the paper and James is looking at you. And if the paper is on a table, you get this really awkward view of James looking straight down. And he always just looks sad and depressed. It's a really weird save screen. That doesn't take any points away from the game. It's just something that's consistently made me laugh.
His wife's
every
dead.
time I have to save.
He's depressed. I'd be depressed if my wife was dead.
That's true, but I don't know. It's a weird save screen, and I don't know why that's what they chose. Maybe that was in the original and they just kept it, but it feels dated. It feels weird. I don't know. No points taken away for it, but
before we move on to Until Dawn, I don't think I told you. I think I'm throwing in the towel for 5 nights. I think I've got to throw in the towel at this point.
If you're not having fun with it,
it's not even the fun yeah, I mean, yes. One, I'm not having fun. Normally, especially with platforms, if I have to redo something and learn more, I'm having a blast, even though Emily hates that. For this game, things just felt unfair. A lot of times things feel unfair. There's random spawns that make no sense. I currently am stuck in the dark corridor with the bots that only come at you when you look at them, or when you don't look
Ah,
at them. Yeah, and it makes it like it. My ADHD ass can't handle those multiple layers of going through all these hallways pressing buttons, and I'm just like, I spent like an hour and a half last night, and I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore.
could I talk you into playing another Resident Evil game?
Oh god, you're gonna be with there. You're gonna be there with me the entire time, and we still gotta play Baldur's Gate together first.
I know. No, Baldur's Gate's down the line, man.
I
Baldur's
know
Gate is not a now food. It is a probably 2025 food.
it is definitely a 2025 food, but by that point, there will be mods on PlayStation where you have more customization options. So it's gonna be nuts. Okay, moving on to the PlayStation staple, Until Dawn. Emily played the remake. I've only played the original. I actually played the original with Drake in 2020. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I actually wasn't there for most of it.
I thought I could have swore you were.
No, I missed most of it. I was really sad about it.
Oh well, I think you
I
saw
don't
the
remember what was going on, but
we
I
had
was gone for most of it.
we had one death. We had one death, and that was Chris because I was not fast enough.
Did you shoot Ashley?
I mean, everyone else lived, so I don't remember.
Oh, so wait, did Chris die because you failed to shoot the Wendigos, or did Chris die because you shot Ashley earlier in the game and Ashley didn't open the door for you?
Oh no, Chris died because I failed to shoot the Wendigo.
Oh, okay, so you just had bad aim. Okay.
Yeah, I just had bad aim. We almost made it the whole game without anybody dying.
That's pretty good for your first time.
I had a great help from Drake, but he has also played the game before. So,
Game.
shout out our boy Crate Classic. Actually, that would be a good guest host if you play PT. That'd be a good guest host.
That would be a good one.
Go ahead.
So we're talking about Until Dawn, which, if you don't know, if you've never heard of Until Dawn before, it was a game that came out in 2015. It's a single-player, choice-based horror experience in which you play as 8 teenagers who are reuniting after a tragedy on a ski lodge up in the mountains. And this weekend that is supposed to be a weekend of them reuniting and having fun turns into chaos pretty quickly when there seems to be a maniac on the mountain who's killing their friends in like Saw type games, and maybe there's something else lurking in the shadows, and there's drama between the characters, and relationships are falling apart, and you know it's like a fun teen horror slasher supernatural in video game form. And it's really fun because it really offered, in my opinion, the first real, like, authentic from beginning to end choice-based experience that every decision you make really does matter, and every decision that you make is going to have an impact on other things in the story. Even just like conversations between characters, like not even the big moments, like whether or not you're going to shoot the gun or whether or not you're going to unlock the door. The small moments of like who's going to side with who in this like silly teenage argument, or did you tell this joke versus tell that joke. It's going to alter the relationships that all the characters have with one another, which can alter how they're going to act later in the game and can make the difference between whether or not a character is going to live or die. And so basically the game takes place over the span of 10 hours, each chapter being 1 hour in game time, and your goal is to try to make all 8 characters survive until dawn, when help is supposed to arrive. And it received so much, people were in love with it when it came out. I myself was in love with it when it came out. My friend group was in love. It kind of became it was a very much a cornerstone experience for me and my friend group with this game coming out. We played it so many times. We make new friends and they'd be like, oh, we want to play it. And we'd watch them play. We had other friend groups who'd reach out and be like, oh, we want to play this now. And we just pretty much everybody we could would make them play and watch to see what choices they made. And there's some really big plot twists that happen throughout the game. And so I was very excited about the remake. I know for a lot of people it's much too soon. It's only been about 10 years since the original came out. And I think there's some validity to that. It was definitely not a game that needed a remake. If I want to go into the lore of the remake a little bit, and I don't know if this is 100% accurate, what I've heard is that Supermassive, who created Until Dawn originally, was pushed by Sony a lot to make a sequel because people were in love with Until Dawn. If you were in the Tumblr space at all, which I was in 2015, Tumblr as a whole was in love with Until Dawn, and they were looking at making a lot of money off of a potential sequel. And Supermassive was just not into the idea. They said they were not going to make a sequel. They ended up making an anthology series that had Little Hope, House of Ashes, Man of Medan. There's maybe another one in that anthology. And then they created the Quarry, which was a standalone Until Dawn. None of them really hit as well as Until Dawn hit. None of them were as fleshed out or as fun and interesting as Until Dawn was. They didn't do nearly as well in sales nor in popularity. And it seems as though now PlayStation has... I don't know who made the sequel. I can't remember off the top of my head who made the remake, but it's not Supermassive. And so, from my understanding, they reached out to this other developer to ask them to remake Until Dawn, to bring it onto PS5 and PC. And it's looking then like this same team is going to make the sequel to Until Dawn, which should be coming in the next couple years. It hasn't been confirmed, but I will go into stuff about the remake that pretty much confirms there's a sequel coming.
But is it going to be a good sequel? See, so here's my question up for the sequel, mainly because, like you said, choice matters, yada yada. Is it going to be a Mass Effect situation where you can choose from a save file, like, oh, we detect this save file on your PS5, and based on the things that happen there, this is now the game, and these are the characters you have? Or is it going to be a brand new cast, or is it going to be same characters, but it's a set, like, this is the definitive ending, and this is how it's going to go from there? Right.
So let me talk a little bit about the endings of Until Dawn to like kind of give you an answer to this and why I think the answer is going to be what it is. So again, Until Dawn is choice based. And so at the end of the game, you can either have all of the characters live, you can have none of the characters live, you can have a mix of certain characters live. And it's some praise I really give this game is it's not a choice based, like if you look at another choice based game, like something like Life is Strange, right? It's very much you make choice A, so B happens. And those were... I'm sorry, are you turning me down?
What? I was turning you up.
Oh.
I didn't even realize... I forgot I was going to come up there. Like, you were a little quiet for me, so I turned you up. And then I'm like, nope, that's too loud and it's breaking. Oh my God. I forget we're doing this over Discord. So as I'm doing this to make sure it, like, sounds good, it pops up on... Hey, guys, there's me. There's me.
It popped up. What was it? Oh yeah, you do.
I think we're good. I'm done touching things. You know what? My mouse is to the side. I'm going to play with the glizzy that G got me instead.
Anyway, in other choice-based games, you do A, so B happens, right? And in Until Dawn, it really is not so clear-cut what the outcome of your choices are going to be. I think the best example of that is the Ashley-Chris scenario. So Ashley and Chris are pretty good friends who want to be more than friends, but they haven't really gotten to that point yet. And they're kind of stuck together throughout this evening of madness. And at one point, the maniac chains them both to these chairs. There's a saw above their head that's going to kill them both. And the maniac says the only way they'll live is if Chris takes the gun in front of him and he either shoots him. And for people who really like Chris and want Chris to live, the obvious choice was, well, shoot Ashley so Chris can live. However, if you choose to shoot Ashley, you find out shortly after it was not a real gun. It was loaded with blanks. This whole scenario is just a prank being pulled by the friend. And later in the game, when there is a real threat and Chris is in a make or break moment and he needs Ashley to open the door for him, if you shot her earlier, she will not open the door for Chris and Chris will die. So you make choices you think are going to save Chris because you like Chris, but they end up actually sealing his fate and making sure he's going to die. Or there's a later scene where Ashley, the same character, is traveling through the mines and she hears Jessica, who is a character you're separated from pretty early in the game. She hears Jessica crying out for help. And you might think, oh, okay, well, I want to save Jessica. I want to make sure Jessica makes it. So let's go find her and bring her to the safety of the group. And in fact, it's not Jessica. It's a Wendigo echoing her voice and convincing you to come. And she ends up killing Ashley. So just there's a lot of, it's not so straightforward what the action and consequences of your choices are going to be like a lot of other games. Which is how you can get to the end of the game and you can have all these different characters either alive or dead. And even after certain characters live or die, how people feel about their deaths can be impacted based on what the relationship was. Emily and Matt are dating in the game, but if she doesn't think Matt is a good enough boyfriend by the end of the game, she'll tell you that you don't need to look for his body anymore because he probably deserved to die. Whereas if he's a good boyfriend, she'll make sure to tell you she wants you to look for him. Just like small details like that. But there's one character who in the original could not be saved, and that was Josh. And he could only have two outcomes. Either he could be killed.
Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. Josh could only be killed by his sister. His sister turns into a Wendigo, and she will either kill him, or if you have gotten most of the clues regarding his sister, because you can collect clues throughout the game, she will take him and turn him into a Wendigo. And so you end the game with Josh as a Wendigo. And there was no way to save him. And that was something that really upset players and fans because Josh was a fan favorite. Everyone wanted to be able to save him and redeem him. He was also, to be, quite upfront, he was a very mentally ill character. And that was something that was really played on with his character, is that he really did have...
Remind me, Josh is Rami Malek, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He had mental illness that was not being treated. He was not in therapy anymore. He was not taking his medications, and that led to a lot of the choices he makes throughout the game. So a lot of people felt he had been unjustly vilified, and he deserved to have a redemption arc. So when they announced that there was going to be a remake, something a lot of people begged for was please, 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 please add a different ending for Josh. And they did just that. It's nothing crazy, but at the end of the game, if you find all the clues and you make sure Josh is repentant when you play as him, you get a new ending where Josh is not killed, nor is he turned into a Wendigo. He is by himself in the mines, and his therapist, the one in his head, says, I really hope there's a path for redemption for you, Josh. And then at the end, Josh looks up toward the light, which implies that he's going to find that path of redemption. And shortly after, because this is at the end of the game, you get a few years later scene. And Sam, our Miss Hayden Panettiere herself.
Kyrie. Thank you.
Kyrie, the lover, is older. She's an adult, and she is in her apartment surrounded by books on mythology, and she starts to hallucinate. She hears someone at the door calling her name. She has this weird cut and a weird symbol on her hand that looks like something supernatural or mythological, and then it cuts off. And it seems like the next game is going to focus on Sam. Now, of course, she could have died in the original game, but, I don't know if those choices are going to go over, because, if you had a game where everyone died, there's no potential for a sequel, right? Because you have no characters to work with at that point. In my head, I'm hoping this is going to be a game of Sam and maybe Mike going back and trying to save Josh, or perhaps there's something else they need to investigate. I don't know. They were kind of like the dream team in that game, if you remember correctly. So I don't know what it's going to hold, but I'm excited for a potential sequel. Is it going to be good? I don't know.
I think the only proper death in that game was Ashley. It was always Ashley's death. That was the only one that mattered. That was okay if she died.
I'm okay with Emily dying.
Oh, was it Emily who sucked? It wasn't Ashley. It was Emily.
They both sucked in different ways. Ashley was a little Peter Panic, who was like, I gotta kill everyone who even looks at me wrong. Like, she's the one who locks Chris out. If Emily gets bitten, she's like, we gotta shoot Emily because she's been bitten, and it basically works like a zombie bite. Spoiler, it does not work like a zombie bite.
Okay, it is Emily. Emily is the one who sucks. I was thinking Emily. Yeah.
Emily is like the mean girl. She's very whiny, very princess type. Did not care for her. But in terms of the game itself, the remake, what did it add that was new to the game? Like I said, it had the new ending for Josh, the supposed sequel. There were new scenes sprinkled throughout the game, like new interactions between characters we had never seen before. There were new totems, which if you played the game originally, totems were things that you could find throughout the game that would give you a little glimpse into the future and help guide your choices to maybe get a better ending. And there were new totems that showed Hannah, who is one of the twins. She becomes a Wendigo, spoiler alert, and she does most of the killing. They show her point of view throughout the series and the choices she's making and how she is the one actually killing the friends, which is a theory I always had but had been confirmed by these totems. The prologue is fleshed out a lot more. There's a few extra scenes there. You get a little bit more of the story and the chunk in that section. There's new interactables. There's no new death series scenes. There's no new characters. There's nothing like that. So it's not. They didn't add anything crazy or wild. It just seems like they fleshed out things a bit more, added some more scenes, some more interesting point of views, and the new ending, of course, and the thing for the sequel. Is that enough to justify a remake? That depends on who you are. For me and my friend group who loved playing this game, and now it's 10 years later, and this game was great. It was great to play this again and to have new stuff and have us be like, whoa, was that new? That's new. Do you think we're going to get this? Do you think we're going to get that? And like kind of relive our early college years was very, very fun for us and very worth it for me. If you are not that strong opinion about Until Dawn and you played the original and you're like, yeah, it was a really fun time, I moved on with my life, it's probably not worth it for you. It's $70 or $60, one of the two. I think 60. And
I'll confirm now.
it's a really fun time, but if you've already played the original and it didn't impact you that much and you weren't that in love with it, it's probably not worth it to come back to it now. I will say, graphically, it does look amazing. I think it looks incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's a remake. And unlike a Resident Evil 4 type remake or a Silent Hill 2 type remake, it's really not reinventing the wheel. The graphics are not that old. The original still looks good. I think this one looks better. Like night and day, but it's not a 2001 versus 2024 difference like you're getting with Silent Hill 2.
It is a $60 game. It is a $60 game.
So, that's up to you to decide if it's worth it. If you've never played Until Dawn before and you're trying to decide whether or not to buy it, I absolutely think it's worth the experience. I would easily say pony up the $60, get a group of friends together, turn off all the lights, get some snacks and some fun drinks, and go for it. Honestly, it's like I said, it's a single player game, but really it's just best when you're with a group of friends. We pass the controller off every couple scenes and everyone kind of has to work together to keep the characters alive, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a really fun experience with other people. So yeah, if you've never played before, I would absolutely tell you to go out and buy this game, especially the remake version, because it's more updated. It comes with new scenes, and it's going to hopefully tie into the sequel a little bit more with the new ending that's coming. I also talked to my friends, because I said we played this together, and I asked for their opinions after we beat it to see how they felt about the remake, so you weren't just getting my very biased perspective on it. And the first thing I said was, how did you feel about the graphics? Could you tell a difference between the original and the new one? For me, it was pretty obvious, but I had also looked up the original versus remake photos, so I already knew how much better it was.
Shall I pull them up now or no?
Yeah, pull one up.
Okay.
And maybe chat can decide how they feel about the new images.
This is the best one, I think. I think this is the best representation. That and the Wendigo.
Mike does look so much better in this. I just think and like you can look at the original, and the original still looks really good. I just think the Chris one is a little weird. Yeah, I feel like all the character models, especially like from the moment we started the prologue, the twins look so much like clearer and defined. I just thought the character models looked so much better. The Wendigo's model looked so much better.
This is
the Chris one is a little weird. I still think it looks a lot better. I still think there's way more detail, especially like when it comes to like the bruise on his head, his hair, like I just think it's a lot more detail, but it still is a weird look. Chris, we always joke, is like the like personification of the grimace emoji, where he's like, he makes that face all the time, but I still think it looks a lot better. Is that worth the $70? Probably not, but the experience of getting to replay this. What?
He also has a stupid haircut, but that's besides the point.
Chris or Mike?
Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris does have a really stupid haircut. Also, justice for Chris, just like as a side note, who, if you've played the game, the whole concept is that these friends were in the mountains a year ago and they played a prank on their friend Hannah. Hannah ended up, getting really upset about the prank. She ran out into the darkness. Her sister followed her, and the sisters ended up dying. The brother exacts revenge on the friends 1 year later by pretending to be a maniac that's killing him. He specifically targets Chris and Ashley the whole time. Like, Chris suffers the most from this, like, retribution that Josh is exacting, and Chris was not part of the prank in the beginning of the game. He was asleep on the couch, a totally innocent bystander to all of this, so justice for Chris, man.
Shout out my boy Chris.
Oh, but yeah, to jump back to my friend's opinions, I asked if they could tell the difference between the original graphics and these graphics. One of my friends said, yes, absolutely, she could tell. The other said she could not tell the difference, but admitted that she also hadn't played the original game in probably about 8 years, so she didn't really remember what it looked like. Asked if they thought it was worth the remake. They said yes. They liked the new scenes. They liked the new ending. They were really excited about the sequel. But was it worth the $70? We all kind of agreed probably not.
60.
$60, yes, prior to the $60, still probably not.
Yeah. No.
Unless, of course, like I said earlier, you're new to Until Dawn and you've never played it before. Absolutely recommend picking it up. I'm really hopeful we're gonna get like a true sequel in the next coming couple years. So I just love Until Dawn. So I'm probably not the most biased person to ask, but if you played it, you had your fill. You don't need to buy this. If you've never played, I'd say go for it.
And what would you give your rating? Oh, give me any cons. Let's talk about cons first. Were there any negatives?
The only negative, and the original game had this, the only negative is it could just be like a really long, slow game at times. It is like a 9-10 hour game, and a lot of it is just like dialogue between characters, like walking around and waiting for the scares. But once it picks up, it really picks up. But it makes replaying certain aspects of it really long and hard. But not really. I kind of, when this came out, it was like the perfect game, it felt like, other than those slow moments, and I still kind of maintain that. The only thing I really wanted was the ability to save Josh, and the remake gave me that. So I don't really have any cons for it. I would have liked more scenes. I would have liked more new stuff. Maybe some different death options, maybe different ways to save certain characters, maybe other more interactions, but I think that's just me wanting an infinite amount of choices for this game. So
it'd be interesting if they made like, they could have like implemented some kind of like rewind feature, or like once you beat the game and you pick certain choices, but you don't want to start from the beginning again. You want to go back to this specific point. You have to do that choice first. But let's say you're like, okay, I want to restart the game, but I don't want to go through the prologue again. I want to start the story at this point with the saw, for example.
You can.
Can you do that already?
Well, so you can't like be like, oh, I want to specifically go to the saw, but you can start certain chapters. So like there's like 10 episodes of the 10 hours, and you can go back. So I beat my file, and then I go back to like chapter 2 or chapter 4 or wherever I want to start, and it has all the choices I made up till that point.
And there it is.
If I continue playing through it, it will do those choices. But if I leave at any point to go to a different chapter, it will just do the choices you've done up until that point.
I would also like different death options. Death by Nagiri. Sorry, Nagiri. What up, Drake?
Very fun. Drake, I would love to see you play the remake, see what you think of it, but also, yeah, it's a pricey boy.
Drake, we get the boys back together for the remake? Are we getting the boys back together for the remake?
Good. I'll ship you my copy of the remake once I finish having it. It's fun. I'm super excited for the sequel. I think the sequel, whatever they bring, I know Supermassive, it feels a little wrong because the people who made it said they don't want a sequel to exist, and now we're making it without them. But if we're making it, to be fair, it hasn't been confirmed. But
who made the remake? Oh, don't play the sound. Ballistic Moon. What else have they done? They're probably a studio specifically for these types of things, so I guarantee you. This is the only game they've ever done.
Well, good job, team. I think they did a great job. We didn't really ever encounter any bugs, any problems with the game. It felt like the original. It played like the original. It was just a good time. It wasn't anything revolutionary. It's not that old of a game. They added enough to keep us interested and on our feet, but not enough to like for me to tell people to rush out and buy the remake instead of the original. But
I can't wait to get a proper Kojima horror game for Emily, so we can have a 3-hour-long episode about every instance of that game. Like this
like the next one's gonna be Death Stranding 2, and I didn't even like Death Stranding enough to like play that one, let alone a sequel.
I don't even know why. The game doesn't need a remake.
It really didn't. It's not old enough to really justify one, but it was fun still. There's some new stuff that you can get, and if the sequel is coming, I am glad we got a new ending for Josh. So there are new opportunities and new endings, but it's not really enough. I think the only reason it was made was the thing I read about. They were making a sequel and they wanted to have the original on the PS5 and available on PC. So
I
they
mean that remake has to come out like next year or the year after. Because
what
we're
remake?
oh, I'm sorry, the sequel, not the remake.
Sequel?
Until Dawn sequel.
I will see. I'm like interested to know what the story is going to be. I mean, obviously it's going to focus on Sam because she's the one we saw in the little like snippet at the end of the game. Um, but I'm going to be interested to see if it's about saving Josh or a redemption arc for Josh possibly, or maybe going back to the mountain to like clear out the mines. In which case, is it going to be a more action-packed game? Is it going to be more like guns blazing? Let's go into the mines. What I'm interested to see what the scenario is going to. Are
It
there going to be
goes
the other
from
characters, or is it just going to be Josh, or is it just going to be Sam?
it goes from horror game to bro shooter like Doom style, killing all Wendigos in the mines.
It's just like what I can't really figure out a scenario where there's a sequel that is like as slow paced and like slow horror build that Until Dawn was, because it's really like 4 or 5 chapters in before you even get some kind of like action, like the Wendigo attacking Jess or the maniac showing up. It's like halfway through the game before you like can take action on it.
I would say they have to bring back Kyrie. They have to
They
bring
have to
back
bring
Kyrie
back.
Converns.
It looks like she's the main character in the sequel, for what it's worth, Drake. If you're not interested in doing the remake, you can always go on YouTube and watch. There's like a 2-minute cutscene that takes place like however many years in the future. I don't think it gives you a specified number, and it kind of shows Sam like hating Panera Bread and her after effects of what happened on the mountain. She's got this weird symbol on her arm. She's hearing voices, so it seems like she's going to be the main focus of the sequel. Yes, this is the
This
difference
is
between
the remake.
and the original. Yeah.
Yeah, when did they release? Friday?
No, October 4th.
Oh,
I just
wow.
wasn't able to play because I was on vacation. So my friends and I got together and we did the full we did it all in one day too. So we did like we got together in the morning, we got a bunch of snacks and we like locked down for the day and played it all through. It was a good time. It was a good time. Was it worth a remake? Probably not, but hey, any excuse to replay Until Dawn with my friends.
It had more reason to get a remake than Horizon Zero Dawn getting a remaster.
Or oh no, The Last of Us was 2013, so I guess that one was a newer...
Oh no, that one was also a bad one because they released the regular game on PS3 and then the next year said remastered on PS4, and I'm like, you could have just released, huh?
Then they did a remake. They've done a remaster and a remake.
Yeah,
for that.
like, and aren't they working on a remake or a remaster for Part 2 already? Even though Part 2 just came out.
I think they've already dropped the remaster for it. Maybe not.
Why?
It's getting kind of crazy. I will say, I don't think Until Dawn. I don't know. It's unnecessary. You're right. It's not necessary. But as a huge fan of Until Dawn, I did like the extra content we got with the remake. I did like the extra scenes, the getting Hannah, the Wendigo's point of view at certain points, the extra ending, the epilogue, the additional stuff to the prologue. Is it worth making a remake? No. But did I buy it and play it and have fun with it anyway? Yes.
I will not be following suit because I am a big baby.
That's fair. You're not of someone I would recommend buying. The only person I would look at and say, not even my friends, because I bought the game so we could all play it together. It's really like a group experience. The only person I would say to go out and buy this is if you're an Until Dawn super fan and you want to replay it with some new content, go for it. If you've never touched Until Dawn in your life and you want to give it a try, don't buy the original, buy this one because it's a more fleshed out experience. But it's not much of a difference.
I am not a horror streamer, Poots, and I'm also not a baby G. I'm done with FNAF. I've already made that. FNAF, to be fair, FNAF is the first horror game we've done on this channel that I've done by myself. That I've been doing by myself.
That's true?
Yeah, I did Outlast with Drake. I did Until Dawn with Drake. I did Resident Evil 7 with you.
Guess so.
Yeah, this is and but with those cases and the scares, those games where I've already made this rant. I'm going to make it again real quick, and then we'll talk about our future things. FNAF, the FNAF's problem is not even that it's scary. It's just not fun. Security Breach just isn't fun. It's just not. I don't know.
I think, it just depends. I will say, watching Drake do a FNAF playthrough, I think it was last year or the year before when he did the security, that was so much fun, Drake. I still think about that all the time. That was really funny. How would you feel about playing a Chilla's Art horror game?
Hey, what is it?
So they're an indie horror game developer. I've played a lot of their games on stream. They're about like an hour and a half long each. So they're not super long, and they're usually slow build horror. And I think that would be a good one for you because they're not super long. You could do them in one stream or even half a stream even, and then spend the rest of the stream doing something else.
What game? Give me a name of a game.
What's the one? The coffee shop one. I would either say Paris Social.
Oh, are you talking about the ones that are like really low poly, like really like PS1 era looking?
What's the Night Shift? No, that's a different one. Night Shift is a different one. They have a couple one. It's
I've seen the coffee shop one.
Yes, I want you to do the coffee shop one.
I've seen Markiplier play the coffee shop one.
Oh, you've seen all of it?
Yeah, me and Allison watched the coffee shop one together.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would say play Parasocial.
Oh God.
Because that one's about a streamer even.
I think the horror light's where it's at. There's that new PlayStation horror light. It's just creepy. That looks Tim Burton-y coming out next year. That one I think I can handle. I can handle Little Nightmares. I might can do that again.
Closing Shift.
Closing Shift. That's it.
I think you should play. I think you should really play Parasocial.
God, you guys are gonna get me to have a
heart attack. It's so like they're only like an hour long. There's like, there's no real way to die in that game. I guess there's maybe one near the end, but like it's not. You don't have to do stealth really. Like
I have played PT, just not on the stream. I played PT with an ex of mine back in like 2014.
Yeah, PT stands for perfectly timid, which means it's for like not scary. It's not scary at all.
You'll be fine. There's nothing horrible that happens. It can't.
Blake Madison. I would pay money to see Blake play Madison, but I think Blake would also pee his pants.
How much money are we talking? You hold my hand during it?
The moment Blue Knees came on screen, I know you could not do Madison. Even the scene with the chapel and like having to get through the chapel. Ooh, no.
Technically, you pay a tier 2. She does have a tier 2 sub. I want Blake to be a horse. Guys, I have this anxiety. It just doesn't fit. I've tried. I've done it the last 4 years. It's just not fit. You know what I loved? Little Misfortune. It was
a fun, dark humor kind of game.
See, that's my kind of spook. That's my kind of, Halloween.
Okay, will you try Parasocial?
You have to be there. Like that is and I don't just mean in chat. Like you're gonna be in Discord call there.
Okay. Okay. If that's what it's to get you to play Chilla's Art, I'll do it.
Oh God, something tells me this is a trap. This is absolutely a trap.
Chilla's Arts are good, and I wouldn't even like. I mean, they're scary, but they're not like. I buy
all of their games for $105.
I love Chilla's Art. They're my favorite indie developer. And Poots like Chilla's Art too, so that works out.
She said it's worse. She said it's scarier.
They are scary, but they're not. I don't know. They have some like jump scares.
Jump scares aren't even really the big thing for me. The big problem I have, other than gore, like because I not know this probably doesn't have gore given like the context of it being PS1 era graphics and looking like not real at all. The big thing is knowing something's coming, but not knowing when, and tension built up because of it.
That's kind of Chilla's Art's brand.
Damn it!
Like the slow build horror of like, is someone watching you? Maybe, and then being like, oh look, there's a photo of you on the table, and like the slow build of like someone's watching you and following you and messing with you, but where are they and when are they gonna appear?
Nothing was funnier though, because this is one instance where I found it was funny because I wasn't expecting it to happen. Is when I played RE7 and I beat Jack. Right, we beat Jack with the car, and you didn't remember and you didn't warn me. I'm like, all right, we're done. Let's just get out of here.
Like,
Ah!
matter.
Still to this day.
Get you. You
uh,
know, I think you should try one Charizard.
oh my god, you're gonna call Allison after this. I know it. I know it.
I think if you do just one Charizard, either Parasocial or maybe we can start you with the Bullet Train one.
Choo Choo Charles?
No.
Oh, well.
I think you should play Parasocial. I think that's a good one to start with. Or end with. I don't think you'll ever play another Charizard game after you play one. I anticipate only getting one shot at this. And I would love to do the closing shifts, but you've already seen it, so I would say Parasocial then.
There's also a gas station one I think I saw.
Oh, there is a gas station one. That's the closing shift. Or, sorry, that's the night shift.
Yeah, I remember the gas station one Allison was watching, and I remember the coffee shop one.
Yes. They're so fun. Yes. G got me. I'm so sorry, G. G got me the trade one. I still have to play that. I'll play that this month, G. How about maybe, because I'm streaming more Silent Hill 2 tomorrow. Maybe before Silent Hill 2, I'll take an hour to play the train one, and then we'll jump back to Silent Hill 2.
On that note, we're gonna quickly go over our future schedule. And as you guys now know, I mean, we've already talked to chat during this. We talk to chat during these podcasts, so come chat with us during the podcast if you want to be part of the conversation. Next week, I will be doing the reviews. I will be reviewing Mario Party. Huh?
I get a break.
I will be reviewing Super Mario Party Jamboree with special guest, my wife. Not on camera, but at least on mic. She will have some things to say as well. We will be streaming that actually tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, you can know that. But if you're watching this on YouTube,
Oh man, you're gonna make my Silent Hill stream compete with you and Allison playing the new Mario Party?
It's
Dang,
me,
right.
Allison,
New
Blaine,
stream
and
plans.
Chase.
All right, new plans. I can't compete with that. Guess we're not streaming tomorrow night.
New Mario Party. We're playing that tomorrow. I'm also going to be reviewing Metaphor Refantasio. I don't think I'm going to be done with it by the time review time comes, but at least I can give my preliminary thoughts. I'm currently 16 and a half hours in. By that point, I'm estimating I'll be about 30 to 50 hours in. It's an 80 to 100 hour JRPG. Like, I don't have enough time,
Wow.
but I will do my best.
I also just realized if Allison is playing with you tomorrow, I definitely can't play it because she's been doing Silent Hill 2 with me.
Yes.
I don't want to do it without her.
Then you can come watch us and cause chaos. Because I know Blaine, the first thing that's going to happen is Blaine and Allison arguing over Luigi.
Why would they argue over Luigi when Yoshi's right there as a superior being?
I don't know. Same with Drake. God, me versus Blaine, Drake, and Allison. All Luigi stands versus me who plays Donkey Kong in Mario parties. Because Donkey Kong...
Luigi Stan is better than Mario Stan. I will say that.
Mario's just milquetoast.
Yeah.
Mario's milquetoast at this point. At least for character selection. His games are still pretty dope.
I'm waiting on more Silent Hill. Gee, where have you been for the last 5 minutes?
We just talked about this!
I was gonna play Silent Hill and your train game, the Charizard train game, tomorrow on stream, but now I've just learned that Blake and Chase and Blaine and Allison are all playing Mario Party Jamboree tomorrow, and so that's not gonna be great for me for getting people to hang out with, but also I don't want to play Silent Hill 2 without Allison because she has been into the series as well.
Stream on Friday.
Yeah, I can do that. Dang, I was really set up for tomorrow, Blake. Come on.
I'm sorry. This has been planned since last week.
No, it's okay. I want to watch Mario Party Jamboree. I can take a break from Silent Hill for a bit.
I'm kind of stoked. After I finish like a normal round with them, I'm gonna try the 20-player multiplayer and see how that goes.
If you even know 20 people, that's like my problem. It's like, let's do the 20 person
randos.
I don't know 20 people to play this game with.
I bought myself a copy. I technically bought Allison a copy so she could play on her Switch Lite and she didn't have to be on screen. That was part of her boot basket. Nice. I didn't buy it for Blaine and Chase, but I convinced Blaine and Chase to buy their own copies for this. So like, this is gonna be insane. I already know The Mario Party other connoisseurs, Drake and Poops will probably get it.
Yeah, I will get it at some point, just not right now.
We
Poops,
convinced
what
you to buy
movie are you?
Superstars.
What movie are you doing in movie night tomorrow? Yeah, I will buy it. I am excited to do it. We're in such a game buying
I
season
know
that
it's no, I get it. Trust
it's
me, I
not the
1000%
time.
understand. I only have one more to get this year. I got
Between
one
how
more.
many have we bought so far? We got Astrobot, Silent Hill, Until Dawn. I thought there was
Echoes of
another one.
Wisdom,
Echoes of Wisdom. I gotta buy
Metaphor,
Guard in like 2 weeks.
Metaphor,
Metro?
Refantasio, and
I didn't buy that one.
I know I'm talking about. Oh, I'm talking about in general, all the ones I bought.
I bought in 5 games in the last like month.
Astrobot, Metaphor, Echoes of
The
Wisdom,
Wisdom.
Mario Party Jamboree, and Brothership next month.
I have 5 this month. Oh, actually 6 because I have to get Life is Strange double exposure.
Yeah, that is coming out as well.
Oh, Poots, you gotta
Astros.
do Astrobot.
Oh,
Ghostbusters, good pick, good pick.
I forgot. I completely forgot. Part of news, late news. People are yelling for Metaphor to be in the Game of the Year contention.
Really?
It's all over. Like this game is blown. This is the fastest selling Atlas game of all time. They sold 1 million copies in 24 hours, which is the
That's
fastest.
crazy.
Like Persona 3 beat that record earlier this year, and that took a week. Metaphor did it in a day.
I had no idea it was that popular. I didn't even know it was happening until you told me about it.
Oh my goodness. But I mean, listen, I've been in like for the past decade, JRPGs have not really been as exciting as they used to be. And then I played Persona 5 and that changed everything. I became obsessed with like Atlas JRPGs. And then here I am. I'm eating good. And now I'm gonna be technically I bought 6 games recently because I lost a bet. I love. Okay, so here's the thing. I have a friend, the friend that you know through me that you started texting about Danganronpa with. I won't out their name.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. She's a Yankees fan and I'm a Royals fan, and they were playing in the playoffs, and the bet was if the Yankees won, I have to play Final Fantasy 16 finally.
Oh, that sucks for you.
And if the Royals won, she would have to play 13 Sentinels because she hadn't played that one. Well, first it was Danganronpa, but she already owned a copy because I bought her a copy 2 years ago, and she's like, "Fine, I'll just play that. You choose something else." So I chose 13 Sentinels. I lost, so here we are.
That sucks.
I mean, I knew eventually I was gonna play it, but after the disappointment that it's 12 and 13 and 15, I was not looking forward to it. But everyone's saying it was actually good. I don't know. I'm 2 years late. Maybe I'll do a 2 year retrospective. We'll
That'd
see.
be fun. Poots, play Astrobot, please. It's so
Yeah,
good.
Astrobot is right now currently is my game of the year. I don't think it's
I don't
Emily's.
know what my game of the year is.
We got to think about that for next month.
If it's really like what game I've had the most fun playing this entire
Do
year,
not say Dreamlight Valley.
no, it's not.
Good
It's
God.
probably still Star Wars Outlaws.
And that's valid. That's totally valid.
It's still the most fun I had, the most excited I got in the game. Episode Wisdom was fun, but like not that. Or Astrobot. It's really up there between Star Wars Outlaws and Astrobot, but we'll see. We still got a couple games left in the year. Silent Hill could take it once I beat it. I still have like 15 hours left in Silent Hill. Well, maybe like 10 hours depending on how far I am. I actually don't know, but Silent Hill could end up taking it. I'm a sucker for a good horror game.
I have a top 3 for game of the year. Well, technically 2 that I'd be okay with winning, even though 1 I'm a little iffy on the like if it's okay. One of them is Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth. Even though I don't love it. The other, of course, is Astrobot, and the Metaphor is quickly becoming one of my favorite JRPGs of all time.
Those are
It's
pretty
incredible.
solid picks. I feel like your picks would get less criticism than my pick.
No, I mean, okay, yes, Star Wars Outlaws. Other than you, nobody favored it. But I think that's fine.
That's not true. A lot of people really liked it.
Remember, the best game of all time is your favorite game. Don't listen to stupid people on the internet. Except for us. Come listen to us every
One
week. We're
day,
objectively
my
correct.
friends are going to play Star Wars Outlaws and they're going to like it. And then I won't feel so alone on this island.
On that note, it's time to call it. It's time to move on. We talked to chat now. Emily, you want to close out with any thoughts or feelings or anything?
Silent Hill's great. I will be playing that. Well, I guess not tomorrow. I was gonna play it tomorrow, but I guess we're gonna move it to Friday. So come hang out with me on my stream. We're gonna play some more Silent Hill 2, and maybe we'll play some more Chill as Art. G has so kindly 3 times gifted me this game, and I haven't accepted it because I never got on Steam. But we're gonna do some horror. As I said, at the end of the month, I'll probably be playing PT and talking about it on this channel. So come hang out then, and go catch Blake. Tomorrow night, he will be playing Mario Party Jamboree. So if you want to get a sneak peek about how he feels about that game or see Mario Party Jamboree, you're like, hey, I don't really want to buy it yet, but I want to know if it's good. Go watch Blake play tomorrow.
Remember, you can find me at twitch.tv/thebeardedblake show. You can find her on twitch.tv/emilyjean33 now that she's actually streaming.
I don't stream more because I streamed twice in the last week, and I'm going to stream more this weekend.
Yeah. And the other common joke, Nintendo bring Wind Waker to Switch, please. That's the last joke that we do every episode.
Wind Waker, I'm begging you. I can't believe I have to live in a universe where you made a freaking alarm clock before you moved Wind Waker to Switch.
Everyone else is saying, I can't believe we got this before GTA 6. Emily's saying, I can't believe we got this before we got Wind Waker on Switch.
Am I wrong?
Remember, if you want to watch these episodes live, if you're on YouTube or Spotify right now, we see you Spotify listeners. Make sure to come to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Podstation64, or the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Podstation64 to watch us live and chat with us. That's gonna be it for us. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Okay, bye everyone. Okay, bye. Don't do anything dumb. Bye everyone. Bye.